Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Children are being left by their parents to fend for themselves online, according to the Children's Commissioner for England. In a report today, Anne Longfield says parents vainly hope their kids will benefit from the internet's opportunities while avoiding its pitfalls. She also says it's wholly irresponsible to let children and young teenagers roam in a world for which they are ill-prepared. Last year, 3 to 4-year-olds spent on average 8 hours, 18 minutes a week online. 12 to 15-year-olds spent over 20 hours a week online on average last year. And there's a warning too that youngsters have no idea. They often sign away their privacy when they join social media sites. Rules in Instagram's terms and conditions, for example, allow youngsters' messages and pictures to be bought and sold by the web companies who can then target them for advertising. The Children's Commissioner is calling for simplified terms and conditions and compulsory digital citizenship lessons in schools. Your own experiences, welcome. How you manage to make sure your kids are safe online, do let us know. Anne Longfield is here, along with various primary and secondary school pupils. We've got Guy, we've got Beth, we've got Sarah, Shinia. They're all here with their teacher, Darren Harkin. And we've got Catherine, Safia and Matteo. Matteo's here with his mum, Katie. Also here is privacy law expert Jenny Afia. Thank you all very much for coming on the programme. General question, if I may, to start with. Raise your hands. Sorry if it's a bit like being in school. Who has Snapchat? OK, and how old are you, Safia?
10.
OK. Do you know you have to be 13 to be on Snapchat?
Yeah.
OK, that's interesting. Who's got Facebook? Instagram? And Twitter? OK, again, you're meant to be 13, apparently, for Instagram and Twitter. When you go online, are you concerned about anything, or are you just having a great time, either playing games or chatting to your friends?
Just having a great time.
Are you?
Yeah.
There is nothing that concerns you in terms of your own safety?
Well, I mean, I keep all my accounts private, so unless I want someone to see my account, then, you know.
What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, everything that I have is private and you only accept people that you know, so...
Beth, are you the same?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Everything's private?
Yeah.
And you only have one account,
Yeah.
say on Instagram or whatever, you don't have double accounts. What about you, Guy?
Well, I think the main people say they always advertise it looking very safe and have the features of having a private account on Instagram. So, yeah, it makes it look safe. So, yeah.
Mm. So, do you think you're unusual in keeping all your accounts private?
Yeah. No. I mean, a lot of people do it.
Do they?
Like, all of my friends have all their stuff private.
Right. Okay. Anne, what are your worries as Children's Commissioner for
Sure.
England?
Well, I think first of all, the internet, I think it's a force for good as a starting point. So whilst we're talking about protection, this is also about empowering children to get the most out of it. But it wasn't designed for children. And over the last 5 to 6 years, children become one of the biggest users. A third of all the users are now children. And as you said in the clip, children are often ill-prepared, just don't have the knowledge about how the internet works, or indeed the social rules that may be online. Often don't have the information, especially around privacy, and the terms and conditions will rule that, and they're largely unfathomable. But don't have the backup as well to be able to do something about maybe posts if something goes wrong. So really the balance of power is very much geared away from children on the internet, and we know that half of children's leisure time for teenagers is now online. So this is something which is out of sync with their physical world and needs to change in terms of improving
Is there anything
their rights.
of what Anne Longfield has just said that worries you? I don't get the impression you're worried at all. Go on, Guy.
Well, it's a slight concern because we feel so safe on what we're doing online, and we feel, it's all ours. But you said, of course, that obviously we're almost the underdogs, that these big giants have a lot on us. Yeah.
Well, I think what you've got is you've got an environment which is largely unregulated, and it's controlled by a few very powerful companies. So whether they set out with intent or not, that is where you are, and it's ruled by terms and conditions that you probably have never read, and you probably wouldn't understand even if you did.
Has anyone ever, including adults, read the terms and conditions before signing up? Have you, Matteo? Did you understand them?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. Yeah, you read them?
Yeah, and then I got my mum to check as well.
Okay.
She always checks.
Yeah. What about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I read them.
Okay. And you all clicked I agree at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you so you say you understand them, and what do you understand by the terms and conditions? Can you remember, Catherine?
Well, I can remember, like, say if it's uses social media, I'll understand that where the privacy settings are sometimes.
Okay.
And then my mum always has to check them over, and then she only knows the iCloud password, so she...
Which of you said, were you on Instagram, Sophia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know that they can buy and sell your
Yeah.
you knew that, did you?
I put my accounts on private, or
Yeah.
my accounts on private.
Jenny, does that stop a company buying and selling those images?
No, they can still do what they want with them. They can give them to other companies and so on. But it does mean that other people, just members of the public, can't look at them. But the companies behind the sites will know everything about you.
Yeah.
What will they know, Jenny? Just explain what they will know about these primary and secondary school children.
Any information that you give them, so how often you're going on the sites, they'll be tracking you, even actually when you're not on the site. If it's on your phone, they'll be monitoring you. They'll have your name, your email address, they'll know what you like, they'll be reading all of your private messages to each other, any concerns that you might be sort of expressing privately in messages, any other sites that you've gone to from those sites, any products that you've liked, they'll be keeping records of all of that kind of information.
Are you really saying that there is somebody at Facebook reading the messages of Sarah when she's, working out with her friends what she's wearing to a party on Friday night?
I don't think there's one person sitting there just going through your messages, but what they'll be doing is looking at broad patterns and trying to see how they can make money from all of us, how other people will be interested in what you're doing, and they'll be grouping the information together and getting money from it.
What do you think of that?
I didn't know that.
That's kind of scary, to be honest. Just the fact that they know what you're saying and what you're doing. It is kind of creepy.
What do you think of that?
I don't like it. I mean, it's basically just like where they can see what you're doing, basically.
Yeah.
As long as you carry your phone with you.
And if we click I agree on those terms and conditions, we're giving them permission to do that.
Yeah.
As a mum, Casey, what are your concerns?
Well, as a mum and as a user, I'm deeply shocked that we've reached this point. Not in a sort of censorious way, but I think we sort of lost our own sense of wherewithal that we should be passing on to our kids. The fact that we don't realise that privacy doesn't actually mean privacy is pretty... I'm sure a lot of people are not aware of this. I wasn't aware, I was asking earlier on. And I see people, friends of mine on Facebook, posting all kinds of images of their family, images of themselves, as also images that as a parent one might not want, or some teachers you'll see will put images of themselves, I don't know, getting drunk, or that it's not great modelling. And it seems like we've given kids access to something they perceive as a toy, and instead it's a hand grenade.
That is actually my phone ringing. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put it on silent. Matteo, I know you play games online, don't you? And games that you can play with other people that you don't know, but that you have necessarily no reason to suspect them. But you've had some not particularly nice messages, I think.
Yeah, well, because I play games that, like, messaging isn't the main part of it. Like, there's other parts to it. And once it's like a drawing game, so you get like a word of something you have to draw, and then the other person will guess it. And then I think they couldn't guess what I drew, and then someone called me an a-hole.
Right. And how did that make you feel?
I felt really upset, so I straight away told my mum.
And you were able to do what?
absolutely nothing, really. I block that person and feel extremely guilty that he'd had access to that. But then I've seen my 13-year-old son, the kind of things that his peer group are seeing and the kind of trouble that some of the others might be getting into because they're just unaware of their digital footprint.
Sorry, Casey, can I just talk about the other issue, Anne, that you raise in your report today, which is the length of time that young people are on average spending online. So if you're between 3 and 4, you're spending on average 8 hours, 18 minutes a week online, according to Anne Longfield's report. If you're between 12 and 15, it's 20 hours on average. Is that not enough? Is that too much? Are you always drawn to your phone when there's nothing else to do? Is that your default position? What do you say?
I think it's too much, to be honest. And like, I think when you are on social media for too long, you actually feel bored. Like, I personally feel like there is no point of it. Like, at the end, like, I'm just there. There's no point of me wasting my time on it. And
but what point do you reach that feeling? How long have you been on it before you go, okay, this is too much now?
A couple of hours, to be honest. But it's not like in a row. It's just a couple of times a day.
Yeah,
it's spread out.
What about you, Beth? What are your daily online habits? How much in a day would you be online?
A couple of hours, same as you. But yeah, not all in one go. Like if I've finished my homework or something, the first thing I think of is to go to my phone to check if I've got any messages.
And are your parents the same? Is that what they do? They wake up in the morning, check the phone?
No, my parents are not like that.
Okay. Is anyone on for more than 3 hours a day?
Yeah.
Okay. As a teacher, Darren, where do the schools come in on this? Because clearly, according to Anne Longfield's report, parents are being reasonably irresponsible in the kind of access that we're giving our kids when it comes to online activity.
Yeah, I mean, we have e-safety policies for both for teachers and for students. So in terms of the students, from year 7, they're taught in ICT lessons.
That's the first year of secondary school.
Yeah, exactly. They're taught that you need to make sure you're private, be careful of what you put online. They're kind of told of the dangers. And then as teachers, we're also kind of held to e-safety policies in terms of our accounts. So I don't know, they are educated on it, but obviously at the same time, some of them might choose to ignore that because they want more followers.
Or often, you don't think it applies to you because you feel really in control of what you're doing online, don't you? Yeah. You're kind of invincible, you think. And most of the time that will be true. But on the odd occasion, you may be subject to, bullying, grooming, etc., etc. What do you think of Anne Longfield's idea as a teacher of compulsory digital citizenship lessons?
Well, like I said, it is included in the kind of scheme of learning for year 7, and then we do refresher assemblies throughout the years. But yeah,
from the age of 4, you're suggesting Anne Longfield, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think one of the things at the moment, there's a big emphasis on safety and protection, which is obviously really important, but given this is really now a part, really ingrained in every part of young people's lives, actually this is about empowering children as well. So how to be a good digital citizen, how to notice if someone's a real person or a fake person, or how to understand if ads are ads, if they're being targeted towards you, and also, the discussion we've just had about terms and conditions. That's something that we should all, children should all know. So
well, you're calling for those to be really, really simplified.
Really simplified and be very transparent.
I would be, that would be incredibly helpful. As a mum, Katie, in terms of compulsory lessons from the age of 4 in how to, behave online, how to manage it, what would you say?
I think absolutely, and I write about parenting and I keep banging on about the fact that many people are aware there is no mandatory sex and relationship education, and it has to be seen within that context. That an internet, it's a relationship you're having with other, often people you don't know. It's going to be a relationship you're having with human resources who are going through your history to see whether you're a good bet for their company. There's so much that people don't know, and we're still, as a generation, us lot, incredibly squeamish about the subject, and we're failing them.
Yeah, you think we are?
But big time.
Yeah. As a privacy law expert, Jenny, would you welcome something like compulsory lessons from the age of 4 so kids know what they're doing?
Absolutely. I think we've had a lot of education about safety, and the debate about the internet always sort of gets tied up with safety, and that's obviously really important. But I think the debate and the education needs to move on now so that people, particularly young people, really understand the technology and how it works.
Yeah.
For example, knowing that when you're online for 3 hours a day or so, and it's because there is technology built in, they're called sticky sites, that are designed just to hook you in and to keep you on your phone so that you keep looking at the advertising content and so on. I don't think enough parents and children realise that.
Well, that's the point that plenty of our audience is making this morning. Actually, the fact that you all know much more than your parents know. Paul says most kids understand how the internet works better than adults. Tweet from Matt. I think the privacy problem is a generational issue with parents. Younger parents will teach their kids web safety. Will they? So when you become parents, you will be savvy in a way that perhaps I'm not, you're not, Katie. Ben says 3 to 4 year olds up to 8 hours online. That's disgraceful and just shows parents want quiet, out of the way kids. Ed says kids on your programme today massively holding their own on the online privacy issue. I know some of your parents monitor your social media sites, and is that part of the deal for you having access to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Would you go further? Do you welcome the fact that they can look at what you're saying to your mates and what other people are saying to you?
I mean, it's good because then it like keeps you. It makes sure you don't do anything like bad, so that your parents are checking your phone, and that you're like safe.
Because we often walk into situations blindfolded, whereas, for example, our parents will be able to take a step back and look. What we're going into. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was someone from Manchester ringing me, by the way, if anybody's interested. Your views welcome. Please get in touch. #Victoria Live. Send me an email, victoria@bbc.co.uk.